Namaste. My book talks about the poor cousin in the elite group of NBC weapons, also called as weapons of mass destruction. It is also dubbed as poor man's atom bomb. Over the years, many nations have chosen these less expensive and non attributable options to degrade adversaries for military, economic, or international political advantage. Historical examples tell us not just the traditional adversaries but also the so called friendly nations have been arm twisting other nations. The mere existence of biological weapons convention doesn't guarantee any deterrence, as this disarmament and non-proliferation treaty has such large gaping holes that a train could pass through it. So there is a need for situational awareness of the historical events which have shaped current geopolitics and the futuristic threat landscape. Relevant to today's panel discussion, let us look at the New Age weapons first, and then let's go backwards to the history which has shaped today's global geopolitics. Recent emerging technologies have brought in groundbreaking innovations for the public health. However, their dual use nature must not be forgotten. This New Age Sagar Manthan has also brought in tectonic shifts in this threat landscape, resulting in both halahal and amrut. Let us look at the New Age weapons and dual use research of concern fueling this arms race. Genetic engineering is editing the DNA of a microbe, whereas synthetic biology is constructing a microbial DNA from scratch using a recipe of a DNA sequence. The dark side of this technology has potential to threaten human, animal, plant, or crop health, thereby leading to disease outbreaks, threatening food security, and economic warfare. Genetically edited biofouling and biocorrosive agent weapons may be deployed for degrading military materials, such as degradation of metals of weapon systems, aircrafts, paints, coatings, fuels, and runways. Release modern disease agents, and the inbuilt suicide kits would ensure absence of any attribution. Such six-legged autonomous drone swarms for precision delivery are no more part of science fiction. When one deep dives into patent databases, it gives us insight into the innovations for explicitly offensive designs of novel bioweapons, and these are toxic mosquito delivery systems. During COVID-19, we have seen vaccine hesitancy, particularly in the Western world. Such dual use technology innovations are being developed for mass vaccination of populations even without their consent. As we can guess, the same technology can be repurposed for preemptive defense or offensive purpose as well. And when the United States has achieved this milestone, then China would have definitely achieved it. Cyber biosecurity is the intersection of cyber security, cyber physical security, and biosecurity. Attacks impact the manufacturing industries, governments, health infrastructure, patients, and the bioeconomy at large. Cyber biosecurity threats include bioinformatics security, cyber security in biotechnology research, biomanufacturing facilities, and biosecurity of digital biotechnologies. It also includes espionage, theft, misuse, and sabotage of information on sensitive biological agents or industrial intellectual property. The frequency of such attacks is so high, it is almost 500 attacks per minute. The electronic health devices are vulnerable to hacking by injecting a malicious code into nearby pacemakers or insulin pumps. It has been demonstrated that it has potential to compromise an entire diplomatic summit's worth of electronically enhanced hearts. Neurowarfare is weaponizing the human brain by either enhancing or degrading the function. These American publications warn the entire world regarding the neurowarfare. and also China and Pakistan's joint strategy of the lift and drop and downstreaming of biochemical weapons via their terrorist networks like Lashkar-e-Toiba. And now, China's competition with the decade-old American cognitive weapon programs since the LSD days is reaching a pinnacle. Digital warfare, known historically as covert non kinetic warfare, is quietly merging with kinetic warfare strategy by developing the modern Sammohanastras. Now, I will share a commercial perspective with you. Global biodefense market is consolidated with few players from the West accounting for majority of the market share with 41.5% of global market revenue in 2020. At a conservative CAGR of 7%, the market is poised to hit $31.4 billion by 2030. And one of the key drivers of this market is creating awareness. How do you create awareness? I will give you a simple example. When someone wants to sell a fairness lotion, they create awareness by showing a dark face. These emerging threats are not hypothetical possibilities. These concerns feature regularly in the international non-proliferation discussions for over a decade now. Policy analysts have been urging the policymakers for more stringent biosecurity regulations for not just the conventional biological agents but also the emerging dual-use research of concern. The elephant is already in the room, people. How did we reach here? The lack of awareness and any credible literature with cohesive history of bioweapons arms race, particularly with Indian perspective, made me research and write this book. Now I am sharing with you many questions that I faced during my research. Dual-use scientific developments and global arms race go hand in hand, and it has trickled down to terrorist organizations over the years. After the Second World War, unlike the Nazi war crimes, the enormous bioweapon programs of Japanese Imperial Army's Unit 731 and the horrific war crimes against Chinese and Russian civilians and POWs were kept secret. One wonders why. The world was kept in the dark about the dark innovations such as this modified Type 50 porcelain Uji bomb, which used to carry 30,000 plague-infested fleas with a rat for in-flight meal. The Japanese war crimes were as horrific as any conducted by the Nazis. However, the plausible deniability of biological warfare was utilized to the hilt this time. One wonders why there were no Nuremberg-like war crime trials against the Unit 731 apart from a small Soviet Khabarovsk trials. What happened to the Japanese bioweapon designs and the related weapon technology? Did the United States nuke Japanese twin cities due to the fear of a biowar on American soil? What happened to Biopreparat, the Soviet bioweapons program, when Ken Elibek, the individual who headed Biopreparat, defected to the United States during the dissolution of Soviet Union? In spite of International Scientific Commission reports, did Indian political leadership of that time fail to assess the American biowarfare claims during the Korean War, even though India played a big diplomatic role regarding the POWs? Is this historical denial of justice for Chinese citizens fueling today's arms race and the second Cold War, Cold War 2.0? Now that Bharat is writing new chapters of diplomacy in global south, can we revisit those historical milestones again? And isn't it intriguing that during the same time as the Korean War, the US Army was funding biowarfare experiments on Indian soil? I was amazed to find a 50-year-old particularly interesting set of documents, Parliament Account Commission reports of 1975-76, which led to the first adjournment motion in the Indian Parliament. These PAC reports strongly recommend an interministerial committee led by scientific advisor to Ministry of Defense to address the nation's biosecurity and biodefense agenda. It's been 50 years now. This is where you can find answers to such intriguing questions. Please read the book. Jai Hind.